Straight ahead on 12 News, old and funny.
Why didn't I buy that chain hoist?
And Weekend Showcase will preview the Geriatrical Theatrical. Plus, the new way artists are bringing color to Maple Grove. But first, a crime that affected even a church. Now, how a new law aims to stop copper thieves. 12 News starts right now. Police in Minnesota will soon have a new tool to fight copper theft.
State lawmakers passed a bill this year that would require scrap metal dealers to follow the same tracking procedures now used by pawn shops. But as Delane Cleveland reports, there's still work to be done before the system goes into effect.
Scrap metal dealing is big business in Minnesota. It's something staff from Discover Church in Brooklyn Park learned the hard way this week when thieves stole $200 worth of copper wires.
They were live and high voltage, and they were able to just snip and walk away with them.
The cost to replace the wires was $4,000.
Expensive all around, yeah.
New Hope City Council member John Elder, who also works for the Minneapolis Police Department, says copper thefts are a statewide problem.
It doesn't take a lot of work to get some of this copper, and they're selling it, turn around selling it quickly, and it's not trackable at this time.
But thanks to a law passed this year, beginning on January 1st, 2015, every scrap metal transaction will go through the automated property system, which is now used to track what's sold to pawn shops.
They'll see pictures of it, they'll see pictures of the people that are doing it, and a description of what it is.
Elder is the man charged with getting a system up and running that satisfies police, scrapyards, and anyone else who has a stake.
They have businesses to run, and we understand and respect that. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we can build something that will meet everybody's needs.
The hope is that the system will also act as a deterrent for thieves and provide the victims of copper theft with restitution.
So we're looking to this to really help regulate and catch some of the bad actors.
Well, there's still no word yet on how much all of this will cost. Elder said that the plan is for the city of Minneapolis to pay for the upfront cost, and the city will recoup that money with a transaction fee that would be assessed on someone anytime they sell scrap metal. Mike and Alex, Elder says that he expects that fee to be 90 cents per transaction, but he still needs to go back to the legislature next year in February and get that fee approved. So we'll have to see what happens a little bit later on down the road. Then.
Trying to dry up the market for these illegal metals.
And this would be a statewide system.
It would be statewide, not just Minneapolis, statewide, yep.
All
All right,
thanks
thank
a lot,
you.
Dane.
A crash with a deer sent one man to the hospital and backed up traffic for miles on I-94 this morning. The State Patrol says a deer struck a car and then a motorcycle near 101st Avenue during the height of the Friday morning rush hour. A 40-year-old St. Michael man riding the motorcycle was hospitalized and is reported in serious condition.
Plymouth City Council members aren't too happy with future transit plans for the Twin Cities. That's because for the most part, the city has been left out of those plans. Ridership out of this park and ride has gone up on express routes to downtown Minneapolis, but many people also commute into Plymouth every day. The Plymouth City Council is concerned that the city's traffic load has been overlooked in the Met Council's 2030 plan.
Our concern is if we don't develop something or try to look at developing something, what's going to happen to our jobs that are here, especially in manufacturing.
The council plans to write 2 letters to the Met Council, hoping to be included in future plans. One letter will ask for a permanent 3rd lane on I-494, and the other will encourage analysis of the Highway 55 corridor.
Golden Valley needs firefighters who can answer a daytime call.
To the mother, the husband, the wife, anybody, okay, that doesn't think they can do this job, you're wrong. I bet you can.
And if you live or work within 6 minutes of a Golden Valley fire station, you could become a paid on-call daytime firefighter. Now, some firefighters even have an agreement with their employer that allows them to respond to fire calls during the workday, but they need more.
Most of our firefighters that are on the fire department live in Golden Valley, and they also have full-time jobs during the day that limit their availability to respond to fire calls. So we need to pump up our daytime staff.
And this Thursday is your chance to check out the job and see what it might be like at the Golden Valley Fire Department's Expo. Oh, Maple Grove needs your help pulling off a citywide art project.
We can all do more together than we can ever do on our own, and that is the big part of this.
The Maple Grove Arts Center teamed up with artist Cheryl Walker to create window art at different locations throughout the city, including the library. They made designs out of transparent colored vinyl. The public is welcome to contribute to the displays using the same materials.
Placemaking is bringing art to a space where people congregate and they're able to enjoy the art, and we communicate consistently at several different spaces in the city.
Doing this kind of work empowers me, and when it empowers me and empowers the community, then I can make art wherever I am. I don't have to be an artist, but I can have art in my life.
The project will be up for 7 weeks. It was made possible by a grant from the Metropolitan Regional Arts Council. Coming up, the funny side of aging. We'll preview the new yet old musical that opens this weekend at the Plymouth Playhouse.
And later in sports, 2 local private schools battle for spots in the state baseball tournament.
But first, it's a look at your AccuWeather forecast.
You can file this next story under the Who Knew category.
That's right. It is National Donut Day. And did you know that the Salvation Army played a role in making donuts popular?
This one look okay for you?
Yeah.
Dressed in World War I uniforms, the Salvation Army delivered donuts to veterans and senior living facilities, including this stop at St. Therese in Brooklyn Park. During World War I, many young women volunteering for the Salvation Army were on the front lines and called donut lassies because they fried donuts using the soldiers' metal helmets over an open flame.
National Donut Day has just become a way to remember their service, honor our veterans, and recognize those that are currently serving in the military.
Boxes of donuts are also being sent to active military overseas. A new musical at Plymouth Playhouse brings out the bright side of senior living.
The Geriatrical Theatrical features a star-studded cast and creative team. Renee Bonneau explains why, for some of them, this could be their most honest and personal work yet.
The opening scenes state the obvious.
Getting going in the morning is a dismal process.
It ain't easy getting old.
Let me educate you young folk.
We touch upon all aspects, you know, the not so good things as well as the great things that come with experience and superannuity.
Ow, my ear!
But the Geriatrical Theatrical is about more than elderly aches and pains.
Gerontophobia, fear of aging. And the big problem is that seniors internalize that.
Playwright John Fenn says the play is sort of autobiographical, born out of his own fear of moving to a senior cooperative.
I was there a month, and I was happy as a clam, the most exciting people. I had more fun. And so I decided to write a musical about my odyssey in doing that.
4 of the 5 actors, as well as the director and playwright, are over 70. Still, for 52-year-old composer and lyricist Drew Jansen,
Thanks a lot.
the play reminds him of the relationship he had with his father.
There are a lot of elements of the show that resonate very deeply with me and would not have done so even 5 years ago.
Well, here goes.
With a talented cast led by Twin Cities theater greats Claudia Wilkins and Richard Ohms, the Geriatrical Theatrical shows audiences how to age with gusto.
The final message of the show is that the best years of our lives are the years of our lives we choose to make the best.
When they walk out, they say, gee, I can do that. My gosh, maybe it ain't so bad being a senior.
For Weekend Showcase, I'm Renee Bonneau.
The Geriatrical Theatrical runs through July 28th at the Plymouth Playhouse. For tickets, call 553-1600 or go to plymouthplayhouse.com. When are the best years, right?
Well, they know how to sell the
That's
aging
right.
years.
Coming up, making Mother Nature work for you.
We're in the garden to show you ways of reducing water runoff in your yard. But first in sports, highlights from the opening day of the state track and field meet. John Jacobson is in next.
State baseball tournament is underway, and John's been closely watching a couple of local teams.
Right, section finals going on this week, then the state tournament coming up next week, and this team coming up a little bit short yesterday. After a state tournament appearance in 2011, some of the same players on the Providence Academy baseball team were swinging for their second trip to state in 3 seasons. The Lions needing 2 wins over Delano in the Section 5 AA final Thursday to get to state. And a good start for Providence. Pitcher Jesse Barron strikes out 5 of the first 6 Delano batters. The Lions give Barron some run support early. Nick Pruden singles to right field. Jacob Braun scores 1-0 Providence in the second inning. Third inning, and Providence looking to add to its lead. Max Baer to the hard ground ball to third. The Tigers come home. Ryan Tapani out at the plate. A big out, and it remains 1-0. And that helps swing the momentum to Delano, and that doesn't hurt either. That swing. Hunter Hart blasting a 3-run homer to right center. That makes it 3-1 Tigers. They go on to win 11-3 and are headed to state. For the first time in school history, the Heritage Christian Academy baseball team reached a section final. Heritage faced St. Agnes for the 4A final Thursday. After the Eagles lost Game 1 to the Aggies in the double elimination tournament, teams needed a second game to decide a section champion. Highlights from Game 2, bottom of the second inning of this one. Leadoff hit for the Aggies. Mark Friends striking out the side for Heritage. Highlights from Game 1 as St. Agnes would go on to win this game by a score of 8-0. They won the second game as well, 1-0. So it's St. Agnes headed to state, defeating Heritage in the 4A final. We'll have more highlights from this tournament Monday coming up on our Sports Jam show here on Channel 12. Well, now to softball. After an opening round win over Bloomington Jefferson Thursday, the Maple Grove softball team fell a little short in its next 2 games. Prior Lake beat Maple Grove 5-3 in the semifinals. Abby Bennell had 3 hits in the loss. In the third place game this morning, Maple Grove lost 4-3 to Forest Lake. The Rangers scored all of their runs in the 7th inning. Maple Grove finishes with a 22-3 record. Well, they were off and running on day 1 of the state track and field meet this morning. While most of the running events were preliminary heats leading up to Saturday's finals, a few of the field events on day 1 were finals, including the boys' shot put. This is Joe Stevens of Champlin Park. His best shot, 54 feet, 10 3/4 inches. He takes 4th place. In Class AA, Ben Krinsky of Lakeville North is the champion with a top toss of 57 feet. In the boys' triple jump, Park Center's Trayton Daniels takes 5th place with a best of 45 feet, 2 inches. Terrence Bowers of Hopkins is the champion in the triple jump with a best jump of 46 feet, 1 1/4 inches. The state meet continues Saturday morning at Hamlin University. Using the right kind of fishing line can make a difference. And how well you might do on the lake, here's Terry Tuma with this week's Channel 12 fishing tip.
One of the most frequently asked questions today is how about line color and line diameter? And yes, it does make a difference, especially fishing fish that are conditioned fish, finicky bite fish. And there have been some tests done over the years and some very recently about line color. We do want to avoid the fluorescent colored lines, except if you're fishing some real aggressive styles of fishing, maybe a reaction bite or burning some crankbaits, for instance, or spinner baits, then it may not be such a factor. Under most conditions, most rules, we will want to use a green colored line for darker water, brownish colored water, and then for clear water, use your clear colored lines. That's why it's very effective for us to have reel spool with the different colored lines. And then for the most invisible line, of course, is your fluorocarbons, which you can use for leader material with some of the super lines and so forth, or just casting it as is. And what we need to do when you're talking about poundage of test, you want to avoid the heavier poundage of test. For instance, if you're fishing bass, normally it's going to be 8 to 10 pound test, possibly 14 or 17 pound test in some heavy cover. But don't be afraid to, if you got a tough bite, deeper water, clear water, don't be afraid to try 6 pound test. You'll be amazed at your results. Do work with line colors, line poundage, or diameter lines. It does make a factor in catching fish. Be sure to tune next week and always release some of those fish.
Thanks, Terry. A couple other quick notes. Jack Graven and Nick Beattie of Wayzata, State Class AA tennis champions, and Tom Wendell, Osseo High School graduate and U of M pitcher, drafted by the Dodgers in the second round.
Heard that.
Draft. Yeah.
Good for
Thanks
him.
a lot, John.
Still ahead, making good use of all this rain.
We are in the garden to show you ideas to prevent water runoff and also help reduce your lawn watering bill.
There's another sign summer is here, whether it feels like it or not. The temperatures might struggle to reach the 70s Saturday, but the City of Crystal says their swimming pool is ready to go. Staff members expect swimmers to be ready and waiting when the Crystal Cove pool opens up at 1 p.m. Saturday. The pool sometimes closes because of rain or storms, but not because of cool temperatures. Well, there are some simple things you can do in your yard to prevent stormwater runoff from flowing into lakes and rivers.
Sonia Goen goes into the garden to show us how to protect the environment.
There's these beautiful light blue flowers right now.
Rain gardens can be very pretty to look at. They're also a good way to stop water from running off your lawn and into the lake.
The rain gardens take the water that's maybe rolling off of your roof or coming down the street. They clean it as it goes through it. You want it to stay on the land because Mother Nature will clean it instead of it going into the river or the lake where those pollutants can really cause damage.
Most native plants will work well in a rain garden.
The blue is linum, perrine, it's called flax.
According to Heidi Highland, building a rain garden is just one step towards keeping the lakes clean.
So I'm on the shores of Gleason Lake here, which is the headwaters to Lake Minnetonka. And then that goes down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. So the problem is really greater than your backyard.
She says if you're looking for an easier remedy, use a rain barrel to collect water.
We know that in one rain event, a 30-gallon rain barrel can fill up somewhat quickly. So if you can just take the water from a small part of your roof or string several rain barrels together, you can really hold more water.
Rain chains are pretty and a great alternative to traditional gutter downspouts.
Just fills that bird bath. Just gives the bird bath fresh water, and then I've got moisture-loving plants around it.
Permeable pavers also prevent water from rushing into the street.
So they are permeable and the water sinks through and stays underneath.
In Plymouth, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Heidi also says another way to cut down on water waste is to make sure your water irrigation system includes a rain sensor. You don't want to water your lawn when it's already raining, and we've had plenty of that.
Yeah, we've actually had a lot of free lawn watering
That's
going
true.
on, haven't we?
That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay with us. Community Corner is coming up next. Have a great weekend, everyone.